Hi, everyone. My name is Leslie Pyle, and I'm with HireMyMom.com, a boutique service connecting small businesses with virtual professionals around the country. And today I am talking to Monique Muro, who started on Hire My Mom back in 2017, and just wanted her to be able to share a little bit about her journey going from a full-time job to now working completely remotely. So, hi, Monique.
Hey Leslie, thanks for having me. So happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. So tell us a little bit about where you were in 2017 and how you got your start, what made you want to go to remote work and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I was in a full-time job all the way since about 2011 to about 2016, and I was really wanting to work from home. I just wanted that flexibility. And in about end of 2016, I had heard about Hire My Mom through a Facebook group. Someone had mentioned about it being a good place to find a good remote job. So I checked it out and I signed up in January 2017. And I was really excited because Hire My Mom is like a smaller job site. And I liked that because I felt like I could stand out a bit more, because some of the other places, it's so hard to find something because there's just so many jobs, so many people applying. So I started out in 2017 and I basically just made it a commitment to apply to one or two gigs per week. I was applying initially to virtual assistant gigs and also proofreading and writing gigs, because those were kind of like my specialty. So that's kind of like how I got my start there. And then I, of course, consistently stuck with it and was able to get my first gig. I believe it was about 3 months later in April of 2017, and that was writing and editing. So I was super happy about that.
Right. Because we get asked all the time about how do I transition to working remotely if I have a full-time job. And so that was another reason I wanted people to hear from you, because you have been able to do that. You said about a year to go from you kept your full-time job outside of the home
Yes.
and worked for about a year until you were making about $1,500. Is that right? A month in supplemental income, and you still had your full-time job.
Yes, exactly. So I had started out, I got my first gig, I want to say about 3 months after I started with Hire My Mom. And then about a month later, I got my second gig. And of course, then I was like, okay, this is great. And that gig was actually a lot more lucrative for me because they started me out, I think it was like $400 a month. And then because we had such a great working relationship, they ended up increasing my pay over like the next few months. And so I was making a few months later, $1,100 a month, just because I had such a great relationship with that client. And then over the next month or two after that, people were referring me, like the clients that I was working with were referring me. And then I had gotten two more clients by the end of 2017. So there was about 5 or so clients that first year that I was with Hire My Mom. And that's when by the end of that year is right when I started making up to 1,500 a month. And then I had to kind of make a decision because I was, had my full-time job, and I was like, oh, I'm making all this great side income. I think I can really use some of my experience now to take the leap and like try and find something more full-time remote. So that was really awesome.
So was it difficult for you to keep a full-time job and have however many clients you had at that time, like 4 or 5?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely hard because, full-time jobs, you're so exhausted by the end of the day. And mine, though, was a little bit more of a relaxed environment. It was an online ad network. It was more of a casual atmosphere. It was really local where I lived. So it wasn't like strict corporate, but it was a little tough. So I would carve out time in the morning and the evenings. But for me, I really wanted a remote job so bad that I knew that I had to put in my time of like juggling both for a little bit just so I could fully transition. So it was like tough, but I knew it wasn't forever.
Right.
So I was like, I can do it for a little bit. So there definitely is that tough part though, for
Yeah.
sure.
And I think that's a great strategy for people that want to transition to remote work, or if it's too hard, depending on what other things you're juggling, if you've got small kids or something. I tell people one other option is, look for a part-time job so that you have steady income, and and also look for clients that you can bring in and slowly build up your business that way. If you can't just completely quit your job, or you can't imagine working full-time and trying to create a side business. Everybody's got their own specifics on what's happening in their life, and how much they can handle and how much money they need to make and that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun. That was the fun part for me, trying to figure out, okay, how many clients do I need to get? Like how long will it take me? And it's funny because I thought like it was going to take a lot longer than it did. It actually didn't take that long. Like I thought it was like, oh, you get your first couple clients, maybe you're making $300-400 a month, and you're like, oh no, this is taking a while. But it really, if you have good relationships too with the people that you're working for, they'll refer you to other people, or you just have a lot more confidence to apply to other jobs. And things start, they really start moving the more consistent and persistent you are with it. But yes, I agree too. It's good to, have maybe a part-time job while you're trying to juggle this. Actually, that probably would be a lot better than having a full-time job plus this. So that's a great idea.
Yes. And so tell me what it was like from, getting your first clients, and then where did you go from there?
Yeah. So basically what happened with me is kind of a weird thing. So I got my first clients and I was super happy. I was making all this side income, and then I have my full-time job, and I was like, okay, I need to make some decision because now I'm maxed out on both sides. So what I think I'm going to do is figure out what I truly want. So after working with doing virtual assistant work and doing proofreading, editing, and writing, one of my clients had asked me to proofread his online course. And I was like, oh, this is so much fun. I really, really, really like this. And I loved online courses. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to try and like worm my way into this industry of like helping course creators with like proofreading and like editing their content. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in that direction. So I kind of took a break. I kind of eliminated most of my clients except for maybe one or two. And I went full force in this other business. But while I was doing that, I actually saw an opportunity for like a full-time proofreading role that had come across on the interweb somewhere. And I was like, I'm going to try for that. I feel really confident. Hire My Mom has given me such great skills. Like I'm still working on this business. I still have my full-time job, but I'm going to go for this. So eventually I ended up landing that role because of all the experience that I had got with Hire My Mom. I felt so confident. And I ended up landing a full-time work from home role that eventually led me out of that full-time role that was okay, but I didn't really like. For the online ad network, it was okay, but definitely wanted to work from home. And Hire My Mom was able to give me that experience. So I got exactly what I wanted. And now I work I'm still working on my side business for course creators at the same time of doing what I love all day long. So it really is just like the best of both worlds right there.
And you were actually able to come back and hire someone from Hire My Mom to help you out,
Yes.
right?
Yes. So that is also something I love sharing too, because right when I started in that middle point before I found the full-time proofreading role and I was trying to focus on my side business, I was making enough on the side to just be like, you know what, I need help. So I was like, I know the best place to go for that. So I'm going to go to Hire My Mom. And oh my gosh, I found the best girl. Like, she is just so sweet. She's a mom from home and she's so flexible and she just loves to work. And oh my gosh, she's amazing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I definitely I struck gold. So it was really awesome. Sorry?
Is she still working with you?
She is still with me. Yep. I don't unfortunately have a ton of work all the time for her, but I do. She takes all my little projects that I don't have time to do, and she's amazing.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, so
where do you think you'll go from here? Do you have any plans to grow your business more?
Oh, I do. So like I said, I am in a full-time work from home proofreading role, but I also am in a coaching program to really help me get direction in my current business, my side business with the course creators. And that's actually been really taking off, and it's so exciting to see progress. So right now I'm kind of like slowly seeing progress with my business and also loving my day job. So I'm like, oh, I know pretty soon I'll have to eventually shift over to my business as it grows. So I can see that definitely happening really soon, just because getting a coach like really helps you like with focus and helps
Yeah.
give you action steps, and then you start seeing little successes and you're like, oh, this is great. So I'm really excited to see how it grows as the months go along.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, do you have any other tips or anything you want to share with people that are interested in transitioning to remote work?
Oh yeah, I would say definitely persistence and patience. So even when you're not getting, some of the callbacks or the email, you're applying and you're not hearing anything, just be patient and persistent, and you will find something. But also be open to making sure that your cover letter and your resume and things like that are good, because sometimes if you go for too long without hearing back, you might want to tweak a little bit. I learned how to refine my cover letter and resume on LinkedIn Learning, that learning
Hmm.
portion of their site that they have. I learned some tips from there. I implemented them into my resume cover letter. Took about a day just to make sure that I was doing things right. And I think that really helped. So if you can, just take some action to make your stuff better, or, take classes online just to make your skills better, that really is helpful. But I will say this too, that you don't need to have a ton of experience to land something, because when I first started with Hire My Mom, I didn't really have any experience. I had helped one woman with her website and had helped one person edit something, but I didn't have a ton of experience.
Do you
I
have
think
any
if you just
proofreading training?
No, I didn't. Well, the only reason why though is because I love reading. So I also have a degree in English. So there you go. That kind of helps me too, I guess.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any formal proofreading training. I just sort of was like confident that I could spot a grammar error, and I went with it, and it really helped. And of course, I ended up taking courses on proofreading to make sure that I was doing it right. But when I first started, no, I didn't have any training, and I was able to land my first gig without it. So I don't, if you feel confident in one area, I feel like you can do great things.
The other thing I heard is that, when you're starting out, it's good to kind of take some different roles and then figure out what you really enjoy. And then, like you found that you really enjoyed course create, content and editing. And
Yes.
that's where you're headed full speed instead of just taking a job as a virtual assistant. Maybe you don't enjoy, but looking at all the different options that are out there and then really niching down when you do find something that you love and slowly just go full steam ahead in that direction.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what I feel. I always tell people, like, I didn't know what I wanted really when I started doing virtual assistant work. I just wanted to work from home. And then once you start working, you realize what you love, what you don't love, and you can just go full speed in that direction once you figure it out.
Yeah,
So, absolutely.
that's so great. Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your story. I know that it probably helps people who are kind of in that spot where they don't know if they want to take the leap or they just don't know what to expect when they do. It's always
Yes.
good to hear how it worked for someone else. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And
I'm
if
so happy
somebody
to do
wants
it.
to learn more about you, where can they find you?
They can find me at proofmango.com. I'm also at proofmango on all the social platforms. So, yeah, either of those two would work, and I'm there.
Wonderful. Thank you, Monique.
Thank you, Leslie.